In 2005, Bugatti released what many called the greatest car ever built. It did 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, had a massive 16-cylinder engine, and cost over $1 million. Car magazines lost their minds over it. It was basically the peak of what a gas car could do. 20 years later, a family sedan beats it. Not by a little. The Tesla Model S Plaid does 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds. Officially, from the factory. A car you can order online and use to pick up your kids from school. So what happened? How did we get here so fast? That's what we're getting into today. To understand where we are now, you have to understand where EVs started. The first modern electric car that anyone actually cared about was the Tesla Roadster. 2008. It could do 0 to 60 in about 3.9 seconds, which was decent, but nothing crazy. And it cost around $100,000, so it wasn't exactly for everyone. But here's what people missed at the time. Tesla wasn't really selling a car. They were proving a point. They wanted to show the world that electric didn't have to mean slow and boring. Most people didn't pay attention. The big car companies definitely didn't take it seriously. That was a mistake. Okay, so let's talk about why electric cars are so fast. Because it's not magic. There's a real reason, and once you get it, it clicks immediately. It comes down to something called torque. And I know that word sounds technical, but just stick with me for a second. Torque is basically the pushing force that gets your car moving from a stop. Think of it like this. Imagine you're pushing a really heavy box across the floor. The harder you push right from the start, the faster it moves. Torque is that initial push. Gas engines don't give you all their torque straight away. They have to build up to it. You press the gas pedal, the engine starts spinning faster, revs climb, and only then does the real power show up. There's always a delay. Even in a Ferrari, even in a Bugatti, the power has to build. Electric motors work completely differently. The moment you press the pedal, and I mean the exact moment, you get everything. Full force, instantly. No buildup, no waiting, no delay. It's like the difference between a punch that starts slow and speeds up versus one that's already full speed before it even leaves your shoulder. That one difference right there is why EVs win drag races. It's not complicated, it's just physics working in their favor. Here's something else that most people don't think about. Every single gas car, no matter how expensive, no matter how well engineered, has to change gears. And every single time it changes gear, the engine cuts power for a fraction of a second. It's tiny. As a driver, you barely feel it, but it's there. In a short drag race, those little cuts add up more than you'd think. You lose a tiny bit of momentum each time. First to second, second to third to fourth. Each shift is a small interruption. Electric cars have no gears. None. The power just flows continuously from the moment you press the pedal to the moment you let off. No interruptions, no cuts, no tiny pauses. So picture this. You've got a Porsche 911 Turbo S, one of the fastest gas cars ever made, lining up next to a Tesla Model S Plaid. Light goes green. The Tesla just pulls, continuously. The Porsche is shifting, cutting, shifting, cutting. By the time it finds its rhythm, the Tesla is already gone, and the Porsche driver is sitting there wondering what just happened. Now here's the part of the story that took the longest to figure out. And this is important because without this piece, none of the rest matters. Electric motors were always powerful, even the early ones. The motor was never really the weak link. The problem was the battery. A battery doesn't just need to store energy, it needs to release that energy fast, really fast. Because when you're launching a car from 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, you're asking for an enormous amount of power in a very short time. Early EV batteries couldn't do that well. They'd release energy too slowly, or they'd overheat, or they'd lose too much power in the process. So even though the motor wanted to go, the battery was holding it back. Engineers spent years working on this. Better chemistry, better cooling systems, better cell design. Little improvements stacking up year after year. And then it all came together. Modern EV batteries can push out huge amounts of energy almost instantly without overheating. That's what unlocked everything. Once the battery could keep up with the motor, the real performance showed up. The Rimac Nevera is probably the best example of where this ended up. Small Croatian company, relatively small team, completely electric hypercar. It does 0 to 60 in 1.74 seconds. It has nearly 2,000 horsepower, and the newer version, the Nevera R, just pushed that to 1.66 seconds, making it officially the fastest accelerating production car ever built. Electric or gas? Numbers like that didn't exist 5 years ago. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because speed records are cool, but the bigger story is what happened to the rest of the car industry when they realized this was real. For a long time, the big car companies, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, BMW, watched Tesla and kind of laughed. They figured their customers wanted the sound, the smell, the feeling of a gas engine. Electric was for people who didn't really care about driving. Then the drag race videos started going viral. Then the sales numbers came in. Then their own customers started asking questions. And suddenly it wasn't funny anymore. Porsche was one of the first to take it seriously. They spent billions developing the Taycan, a fully electric sports car that could actually compete on a racetrack, not just in a straight line. They weren't going to just hand over their reputation without a fight. Lamborghini announced every new model going forward would be hybrid or electric. This is a company whose entire identity is built around loud, aggressive, gas-powered supercars, hybrid Lamborghinis. Think about that for a second. Ferrari, who swore for years they'd never go electric, announced their first fully electric car. They had no choice. Their buyers are getting younger, and that generation grew up watching EVs destroy supercars and drag races online. Even Bugatti partnered up with Rimac, the company that makes the fastest electric hypercars in the world. The same Rimac that just took the 0 to 60 world record. That partnership didn't happen by accident. Now I want to be fair here because there's a counter-argument, and it's a good one. A drag race is not the whole picture. Real motorsport involves corners, braking, tire management, and strategy. And in those situations, gas-powered cars, and hybrids especially, still compete really well. Formula One cars are hybrids, and they're the fastest racing cars in the world on a proper circuit. On tracks with real corners, pure EVs don't dominate the same way they do in a straight line. Part of the reason is weight. Batteries are heavy. A big EV battery pack can weigh 500 to 700 kilograms on its own. That hurts you in corners and under braking in ways it doesn't in a drag race. So no, EVs haven't taken over all of motorsport. Not yet, but the direction is pretty clear. The companies that laughed at Tesla are now scrambling to electrify everything they make. The performance benchmark has completely shifted, and we're still early. The Nevera R just took the 0 to 60 world record at 1.66 seconds. Engineers are still improving batteries every year. There are startups right now working on things that'll make even that look slow. I genuinely don't know where the ceiling is. And honestly, that's kind of wild to think about. Alright, that's a wrap. If this changed how you think about electric cars even a little bit, share it with someone who still thinks EVs are boring, and subscribe. We do this every week. See you in the next one.